7:22 now. A special ceremony is taking place at the University of Chester this afternoon, which will see it become one of the first universities in the UK to pledge its commitment to challenging stigma surrounding recovery from addictions. The Recovery-Friendly University Pledge will mark the university's promise to support students and staff in recovery and celebrating their contribution to higher education. The milestone comes after 3 years of discussion and development of initiatives and aims to help further enhance the contribution to recovery culture. Dr. Wendy Dossett is the Associate Professor of Religious Studies at the University of Chester and is one of the leads in the initiative. A very good morning to you, Wendy.
Good morning, Paul.
Thank you for coming on. What is the Recovery-Friendly University Pledge, then? Just explain it to us, if you will.
Sure. Well, it's a commitment, a promise, like you said, and a statement of intent to acknowledge the presence of people in recovery from addictions within the university community, to support them and to deepen that support that we offer to them. But also, it's importantly to celebrate their presence. People in recovery from addictions bring with them enormous strengths to a university community, as do people with other mental health conditions who are working on recovery. And I think we're becoming a little bit better in the higher education sector now at acknowledging not just their support needs, but the value that they bring to the university community. So the pledge was developed by an organisation called Recovery Connections in collaboration with 4 universities, Sunderland, Teesside, Birmingham and us at the University of Chester. And it's got 10 elements to it, and it involves things like committing to providing alcohol-free spaces on campus, awareness-raising opportunities like recovery ally training that we offer, alcohol-free student accommodation, peer support groups on campus, sober social activities, and really just to recognise the fact that people in recovery are amongst us, often hiding in plain sight. But if we can name it and celebrate it, then that's a massive challenge to stigma. When people can see that recovery is a possible pathway, then they can find their way out of their problems.
And, there is a stereotypical image of a student, isn't there? That, I was a student a long, long time ago, Wendy, but, in years gone past, it was someone who went out every night, who went down the pub and had a few drinks and did all of that. Do you think there's still peer pressure on students to behave like this?
Well, research tells us that drinking rates amongst young people are declining, but there is still reports of a sense of peer pressure, whether that's actual peer pressure or fear of peer pressure, that does make people who have had historic substance issues nervous about university. And we want to make university genuinely available to all. We want to make it genuinely inclusive. So that means we have to provide a culture in which it's possible for people in recovery to feel safe around those kind of elements of peer pressure.
And what will signing of the pledge actually do for those in recovery, though? I'm guessing everyone can play a part in this, can't they? Sometimes you don't even realise you are supporting someone, maybe.
Yeah, it's got great symbolic value just in naming recovery as a thing that happens to people. Recovery is contagious. When people can see it, they can aspire to it, and it happens within communities. Also, tackling stigma happens within communities. So we hope that in signing the pledge in Chester, we're kind of sending a signal to wider culture that being a person in recovery is a wonderful thing. And, there is no need to be ashamed of a substance misuse issue, that those things are get overable if you and you can move on for them, and people move on in very many different ways, but we don't know about those ways because it's such a hidden conversation. People don't talk about it because the element of stigma and the element of shame. So just naming it is really important, but there's also just embedding those elements of support within the university community to make sure that we can provide those safe spaces for students.
And this forms part of a wider university diversity festival, doesn't it? Can you tell us a bit more about that and what will be happening this week?
Yeah, so we're signing the pledge in the middle of our diversity festival at the University of Chester, which we've been running for many years now. And it's a 2-week festival that is really designed to challenge us in the university to think a bit more deeply about issues like equality, diversity and inclusion and what that really means. It's one of those things that is quite easy to pay lip service to, but we need to deepen our thinking around those things. And obviously signing the Recovery Friendly University Pledge is a big element of that. It really is reaching out to a community that are often extremely marginalised and making the university a safe place for them. But yeah, we have visiting speakers, we have workshops, and the Diversity Festival is really a great opportunity for us within the university to have a conversation about those sorts of issues.
And obviously coming forward is perhaps the biggest step. It's the first step. How can students and staff access your services?
So we offer peer support for members of staff, and we're creating an environment where students should feel free to ask for help. You're right, asking for help is the most important thing. It's a difficult step because of this problem of stigma and shame. But if we can reduce the barriers, if we can tackle the stigma, then people will find help seeking much more easy. And that's why we're signing the pledge, why we're naming recovery as a thing that happens to people. For many people, it's actually an element of their identity. People identify as a person in recovery, like they might identify in terms of their gender or sexuality. It's important as that to them. And just kind of naming that is a really powerful thing to do to dismantle those barriers to help seeking. And we hope that we're the second university to sign the pledge in the UK, and we hope that many other universities will look at this and consider the ways that they're supporting people in recovery from addictions.
Great speaking with you. Thank you for coming on, Wendy. Take care.
You're welcome.
That's Dr. Wendy Dossett there, who is the Associate Professor of Religious Studies at the University of Chester and one of the leads on that initiative.